Hello everyone, it's Chris Clark with discgolf.law, back with you to talk about an issue that has been beaten to death on social media and in the disc golf media as well. But I've got a little bit of a different take and wanted to share it with you and get your thoughts. And I'm talking about the situation at the Champions Cup on the FPO lead card. Elaine King, who is a legend in the disc golf world. She was acting as a commentator for this event. She also is a player. She is still an active competitor. She's a world champion. She has more tournament wins than any other disc golfer, male or female. And she has an executive leadership position with the PDGA. So this is someone that's in a unique position. She was calling the lead card coverage for Disc Golf Network. She noticed that Kristen Tattar had her 9-year-old daughter caddying for her in this event. And Elaine, being knowledgeable about the rules, knew that this was not allowed. A 9-year-old does not meet the PDGA age requirement to be a caddy. She ended up texting the caddy of one of Kristen's competitors. She texted Paige Pierce's caddy to make her aware of the fact that Paige's opponent, Kristen Tattar, was using an illegal caddy for this round. It turns out Paige's caddy is a friend of Elaine's, and Elaine has explained that her intentions were pure. She was concerned that if Kristen continued to use a caddy in violation of the rules, that whatever result Kristen achieved in this tournament could potentially be taken away from her. She could be disqualified if it was later discovered that she had violated the rules during the round. It has been discussed to death whether Elaine, in her role as a commentator, stepped out of line by inserting herself into the calling of rule violations in this major tournament. I don't know Elaine King. Elaine and I have met on at least one occasion, but it's hard for me to believe that she had a sinister motive or even that she made a poor judgment call by bringing this to someone's attention. I think it's a fair debate to say, should she have brought it to one of Kristen's competitors' caddy? Was that the right person to contact? Perhaps should she have contacted the tournament director or someone on the tournament staff? But this situation, it begs a bigger question that we have talked about several times in our videos, and certainly believe this is a debate that will continue for many years to come as the sport of disc golf continues to grow. And it has to do with rule enforcement. Disc golf is in a really strange place relative to other sports when it comes to how we enforce our rules. And I'll give you a few examples of what I mean. It's not going to come as a surprise to anybody that there are myriad examples where the rules in professional disc golf are not enforced consistently. One of the most obvious examples that comes to mind is the 30-second rule. When you arrive at your lie and it's safe to throw, a 30-second clock is supposed to start running, by which you must make your shot. But that brings us to a second unusual, unique scenario in our sport, which is your competitors are responsible for calling and enforcing rule violations. And it just rarely happens. One obvious reason that we don't see players calling out their competitors on rule violations is these are people that they have to see week in and week out. They have to play on cards with these people. They usually socialize with these people, eat meals with these people, travel with these people. These are their friends, and It's just puts them in an uncomfortable position to have to act not only as professional, elite, high-level competitors in the sport, but also serve as the officials that are responsible for enforcing the rules. Might someone else on your card retaliate against you if you call a rule violation on them, especially a questionable rule violation on them? Might calling a rule violation on a competitor take you off of your own game? Professional competitors in sports are focused on executing at the highest level, and a big part of that is their mindset. It's your mental game. Tournaments are won and lost based on the strength of a player's mental game. And so, do you want to give a player another distraction that takes them out of that mindset? It's just not good for the game to have that. And so ultimately, I think what we're talking about here is the same thing that we've talked about on many different topics, which is what is the answer to this problem of rule enforcement in disc golf? And I have a suggestion. I have done a few videos in the past about the economics of our game and how, in my opinion, there are some things that need to change. And I acknowledge this isn't a popular opinion for many people, but the fact of the matter is, tournament staff, particularly tournament directors, need to get paid more. We also need to have funds available to have officials on the course during tournaments enforcing rules so that we take that responsibility away from the competitors. How do we do this? Tournament entry fees need to be higher. We need to have funds available to hire trained and certified rules officials. How might that have made a difference in this case? Well, I can think of a few ways, but here's one. Kristen Tattar's daughter, her 9-year-old daughter, was issued a caddy pass. That is not Elaine King's fault. That is not the fault of the other competitors on Kristen's card. How was a 9-year-old who does not meet the age requirements to be a caddy issued an official caddy pass at a major tournament? That is a shortcoming of the tournament director and the tournament director's staff. In order for us to get the brightest and best, most competent tournament directors and tournament staff, you have to be able to pay them fairly for their time. It'd be great if we had sponsors lining up to add a bunch of additional cash to the budgets for these tournaments, and we are getting there. We're seeing that more and more. Purses are getting larger and larger. Overall, the economics of the sport continue to grow. And so yes, I think we are headed in that direction. We need to make some changes if we want to grow this into a legitimate, well-respected, well-regarded professional sport. And I can't think of hardly any other examples where a serious professional sport does not invest adequately in enforcing their rules. I think we can cut Elaine a little bit of slack here. I think her intentions were good. I also think that it was not a shortcoming of the players on Kristen's card to call out the fact that she had an underage caddy, because her underage caddy had been awarded an official caddy pass by the tournament directors. Let's pay our tournament directors and our tournament staff a fair amount to do the hard jobs that they have to do. And if we start doing that, I feel highly confident that the issues that we're struggling with rule enforcement across the board in our sport will resolve themselves. What do you think? I'm curious to know, was Elaine out of line? And if so, How? What should she have done instead? Also, do you think that this issue with Kristen's daughter cost her the tournament? Kristen was leading going into hole 18 and had a unfortunate meltdown that cost her the tournament on the 18th hole. Was this related? What should the tournament director or tournament staff have done in this situation? Did they handle this situation properly? Let me know what you think in the comments.